gonna do what they say can't be done. We've got a long way to go, and there's short time to get there. I'm eastbound, just watch old Bandy.
And we're here in Northwest Ontario in the beautiful town of Marathon. We're here with Mayor Rick Dumas.
Good morning, Richard. How are you doing?
Outstanding. We had a great evening last night sleeping in your local campground. It's a beautiful campground on the lake.
It certainly is a beautiful campground. Now, I just want to do a little promotion about Marathon in Penn Lake Park that we redeveloped with $1 million of infrastructure improvements, and it's got internet, cable TV, plumbing systems, great handicap accessibility, so I'm glad you enjoyed your stay at Marathon.
Well, having driven a couple of 100 kilometers with no internet access and really hardly any cellular, we were glad to be able to have wireless. It was amazing.
Good.
Tell us a bit more about your town.
Well, Marathon's a small northern community based in the center of northwestern Ontario, with in between Thunder Bay and Sault Ste. Marie. We basically survived today on the mining sector. We were a community that was built on paper, as our logo says. Marathon built on paper laced with gold. Our mill went down in 2009, and today we are focused mostly on the mining sector with the potential of reinvigorating the forestry sector back to some sort of economic base in our community. But today it's gold, and hopefully tomorrow it's platinum palladium.
Outstanding. Okay. Well, what kind of challenges have you faced, though? You've got a history of challenges in your community. What kind of challenges face you today?
Well, we certainly did. I mean, obviously, with any northern community, luckily we were a two-industry community. With the mill going down in 2009, Richard, it really threw an impact to the community as far as the economic base. 230 direct employees lost. The service sector was affected. The tax base of the municipality was affected by a tune of $1 million, which is huge in a small northern community of a community of our size. So we were able to focus through that and make some minor adjustments within our operating of the municipality. We had a couple layoffs within the municipality itself. We shut down only one service sector, which was in the recreational department. We shut our ski hill down, which was facing some downturn in usage, as well as the demographics were changing in our community. So we worked our way through that. We were able not to increase taxes substantially. We just cut some of our capital programs. We were able to focus on what the necessities were of the community and get through that. So here we are today, some 5 years later after the mill shut down, and we still have that $1 million of revenue lost annually, but at the same time we focused through, and we've been able to get back on track with some of our capital improvements we need to be done in our community, as well as continue to focus on our improvements in our recreation facilities. So the residents, I believe, are happy. In 2010, there was no election in Marathon. We were acclaimed because the people were satisfied with the work the council was doing. And
or no one else wanted the job.
Well, you can look at it either way. We looked at it as the fact that we were doing a good job in the community, and the council today was able to hold the line in regards to cost and continue to provide the services to the municipality that were needed. And when you look at that as a ratepayer myself, as a resident of the community, regardless if I was on council or the mayor of the council, I think it's beneficial to have a council that's open and accessible and looks at all the opportunities for the community and how we can move forward without having increased cost.
Outstanding. Well, you talked of some of the successes. What's something you're really proud of here in Marathon?
Well, the fact that I think that the community of Marathon has always considered itself as a hub, and we look at Marathon as a kind of a shopping and an economic hub. I'd say what my achievements for the community from a council's point of view is the fact that we've been able to continue to grow the community as a hub for the regional aspect in regards to health, and regards to education, and regards to the commercial sector. We continue to focus on that. We continue to focus on the quality of life. Marathon I always looked at as a good place to live, work, and play, as I think we all do in all our communities, but we really want to emphasize on the fact that we're a safe, friendly community, and I think those are our successes. When I can leave the role as a council member in a community and say that the success of the community was based on a quality of life that we all enjoyed, where we didn't have to worry about the safety of our residents, our children, and go to school, come and go, walk on the streets, and feel safe in your community, that's the success. I mean, economically, viability of the community, the industry base, the commercial base is all one thing, but I think of just the quality of life, and it's all about quality of life. We all want to have a quality of life and good health care, good education, and I think that's what we have at Marathon.
And my last question, do you have any 30 seconds of the challenges or opportunities or solutions we've found at other senior levels of government related to Marathon?
Well, some of the examples I want to take into consideration, the federal government has a gas tax payment that each one of us receive throughout the country. I think that's a great program. Well, we need the federal government to come forward and to continue to help fund and offset our infrastructure needs. All of our communities are facing deficits in the infrastructure sector. We got 60, 70, 80-year-old infrastructure in the ground, and it's not the glorious stuff that we see with the parks and the streets and the recreation facilities. It's the stuff that we need for everyday living. Those pipes in the ground they have to be replace. When you replace a pipe, you're talking tearing up the streets, the sidewalks, the light fixtures, replacing all that infrastructure to fix a pipe in the ground. That costs huge money. We just did a program a couple years back. It was $4 million. Small portion of the municipality done. We still have a majority of our municipality has to be done in regards to the infrastructure. We need the federal government to come forward with additional funding from the gas tax portion, some increased Build Canada funds type programs where it's not just a lottery or it's a system where we all get the monies based on the size of our community. But more than anything, we need the provincial government, the Ontario government, to come to the table with a sustained funding model that we can say each and every year when we look at our budget in the fall, we prepare a budget, we say, okay, we have so many dollars coming from the federal government from the gas tax, we have so many dollars coming from the provincial governments from a program or whatever the program might we want to be called, then we know we can go forward and we can borrow against those dollars. Nothing wrong with borrowing money to sustain your community and replace the infrastructure, just like operating a home. We can do those things, but we need to have sustained funding. And that, if I can get a message out there to anybody, would be we need the federal government, the federal and provincial government to come together and look at opportunities to sustain our infrastructure funding models.
Outstanding. Well, that's a message that we hear a lot across the country, in our own communities on the West Coast, but right across this country.
You know, we talked earlier before we were doing this interview, Richard, and we talked about the federal government coming to the table. We in our backyard have a chromite deposit called the Ring of Fire, and I don't know if you've all heard of it in BC, but in Ontario it's a big thing. And the Ring of Fire is a program in a mining sector that could create up to 5,000 jobs and create billions of dollars in revenue for the provincial federal governments. To date, the federal government has not come to the table in regards to helping offset those costs to develop the infrastructure to get that mine open and operating. We need the federal government to sit down with whoever the government of Ontario is going to be after the June 12th election, to sit down and bang out an opportunity to work together and develop those road infrastructures and those hydro corridors that we need to develop that Ring of Fire so we can all benefit in the province of Ontario and actually in the country of Canada in regards to the economic base at that mine site. And then we look at other opportunities with the oil and the pipelines and all that. We have to sit down and look at the benefits we all receive off of those services provided. We all take for granted to fill up our car with fuel. We take a look at the hydroelectricity programs that are created with the energy that's used in coal and get natural gas. We need those systems to be there. We need the people to support them. We don't need people to be negative and always being against projects that are looking at economic opportunities for our part of the world.
Outstanding. Well, I want to thank the people of Marathon and your community, your council, for your hospitality. We're in Marathon, Ontario, with Mayor Rick Dumas.